Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Friday, TGIF, TGIF. Happy Friday. It's a new moon Friday. Welcome to AstroWorld TV. I am hosting tonight. Astro with Eric is going to be in the house. Dan is out. I am in. I am excited to be here with you guys. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We got quite a few things on the agenda. We've got image of the week as well as image of the month for August. And we're also going to have my constellation presentation of Lyra. So we're going to have a lot of fun, kick back, relax, and enjoy AstroWorld TV on a Friday. And if you like what we're doing here, and I want you guys to do me a huge favor. Give a big thumbs up, like the show, share it to public on Facebook, share it via YouTube, let everybody know. We are on Discord, we are on X or Twitch or whatever you want to call it. So, we got that on social media as well as here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So I'm going to hop on over here and we're going to see if anybody is on. Nobody's on yet, so it's all good. Billy is on. Billy is on first. Who's on first? Billy's up first. Billy Astro, what's happening, everybody? Hey, Norm, what's going on? We are here. We are live on a Friday. What's up, Peeb? We're going to have some fun tonight. Good to start seeing everybody flowing in and enjoying joining us on AstroWorld TV on this Friday. Hey, Rich, how are you? Norm. The crew is coming in. The AstroWorld crew is coming in. Told you guys I was going to do this. I was going to go live on Friday. Dan is out, but I am in. It's next man up. I am the starting pitcher for this show tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad everybody's joining us. It is a new moon weekend. Dan is actually in Cherry Springs State Park. He's enjoying the star party that's over there, doing some imaging. I cannot wait for my first star party that I will be attending, the Illinois Dark Sky Star Party next month. I believe that it starts off on October 12th, and looking forward to that myself, to experience my first star party. We talked about on Wednesday about the etiquette and what the do's and don'ts of a star party. So check that out if you haven't had the chance to check that out yet. From our Wednesday show that is already on YouTube. So check that out when you get a chance. Guten Tag there, Herr Gideon. How are you, sir? Dan may be calling in. We don't know. I've got my phone up and I've got a couple other things over here as far as make sure I got Facebook up because he usually IMs me and stuff. So let me just do that here really quick before I forget. But he was saying that there could be good as far as internet on here. So I see Corn just hopped in on Facebook, sending me a message. So I'm letting him know, hey, Corin, hop on YouTube. So I'm doing the show live. We are having some fun. I hope we can get a chance that we can go live over to Cherry Springs, have him join us. If not, it's all good. You know, we're going to have some fun. We're going to go over a few things today, or tonight rather. And like I said, we've got image of the week. So you guys still have until 8:30 Central, that is 9:30 Eastern, to make sure that your vote counts for image of the week. If you have not voted, go to astroworldweb.com/IOTW and make sure you choose one of those 4 awesome images to win for image of the week, as well as this is the last night to vote for image of the month for August 2023. The winner of this month's contest will be added on to our 2024 AstroWorld calendar. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I have no ears. You know what? That I don't like having ears. I don't like that. So you know what? I'm going to change that. Let's see what we can do here. And that still makes me look like I have no ears, but I assure you I have ears. I just, you know, I'm not going to point them out like that, but there you go. So that is just crazy on how it's making me look. That is funny. Hey, Mikey. Norm, yes. Bring out the beer. Bring out the beer. So let me see here. There we go. Maybe that'll help out. Now I have ears. I actually have ears. You guys know what my basement looks like. It's all good. I got the AVX sitting back there, but I've got the CEM20 out there on the pier. I did get it back and it is working. So that is much better, much better. You know, I keep it real here as far as, you know, hey, I live. I got, you know, my Comiskey Park bar. You know what? My boys, the Sox, they're done this season. So, you know, I'm all about football right now. I should actually change that up a little bit so it's all over. Because right now they are just terrible if you're talking about baseball. So, but we're not going to talk about baseball right now. We're talking astronomy and astrophotography. You know, as I said, it is a new moon weekend starting off. Like we said, Dan is out in Cherry Springs. He is in Pennsylvania at Cherry Springs State Park doing some imaging under those Bordeaux 3. I'm thinking, yeah, still Bordeaux 3, I hope. Because he was talking about them possibly even, you know, with the light pollution creeping in, it could end up being Bordeaux 4, which would be terrible. So, Gideon, I sort of have made up my mind on the mount. I do still want to go with IOPTRON, the HAE 69, but they've kind of got me a little bummed out because when I was ready to pull the trigger, then all of a sudden they went with their HAE 69B, which has the additional saddle with kind of maybe with the power saddle with the USB and some power. It's almost like maybe even the little mini computer, because it's also, they have K-Stars that you can run with it, which I personally am not a fan of K-Stars, but is also indie compatible. And you know, it's got the USB, it's got a couple of USB 3s, I believe, and USB 2. So I don't know, it's not my favorite. Oh yeah, Dave, there you go. Neighbor cut down 3 tall trees today. Congrats. So now he's cut down those trees. Which way were those facing? North, south, east, west, are you going to be able to, what are you going to be able to grab now? In which direction? There, Dave, kind of let us know. Because that is awesome. As much as I am, about conservation and tree in our environment and trees, because we need them to keep, we need our plants and trees to help keep the oxygen going, of course. But you know what? Every once in a while, like my neighbor, and this is not even my neighbor's fault, because my previous neighbor was the one who planted that tree, or that maple tree. It's like a silver maple. That sucker is huge, and it blocks a huge part of the eastern side of my sky. So it's terrible. But, we do what we can, because I've got the north as far as my best shots are coming from the north and slight northeast and southeast, and a little bit over south, because south is where my home is, and my home is facing south. So when I'm imaging, I can only get above, probably starting at about 24, 25 degrees. I can get up there, and then anything really low, it's gone. But Orion's coming, and Taurus, and M45, so it's going to be great. I should send my neighbors a cake. It's in the head of a horse, like the Godfather. Oh man, Dave, if they're facing south, man, that's awesome. So how much did you gain? Did you gain a really good area of, to now capture? So that would be really cool. Facing south, we got so much that, of course, how our planet rotates, everything is coming from the east back to the south, and then to the west. So it's great that you're able to get those, better, southern skies. So hopefully that helps you out a lot, and able to capture a lot more. Absolutely, that's going to be awesome, because everything as far as our fall constellations, we are now, of course, in mid-September, getting closer and closer to the official start of fall, with the I guess it's, what do they call it? The autumnal sol equinox. I want to say the autumnal equinox for autumn. So we're getting the fall constellations, such as, Orion starting to come through, Taurus. So we should have a lot of good, those fan favorites, those ones that when we image, especially new astrophotographers, when you think of astro imaging and astrophotography, what's one of the, first images you go after, when you first start out? It's probably maybe the moon, or maybe sometimes maybe the moon, maybe you do a little bit of Milky Way. But when you're talking deep sky, at least for me, one of my very first images was M45, the Pleiades, and then and right next to it, right back to back, I did Orion. So those were my first two real astro images that, I went and did for, that I did the whole gambit of calibration frames, flats, you name it, did it all. So that was really exciting for me. So having a chance to get these really great southern targets when you got this space now, that those trees are gone, it's going to be huge for you there, Dave. So nice. You got an extra, probably 20 to 30 degrees more. That is really good. Mark, hey, good to see you here, sir. It says, I have a good clear sky in all four directions. My big tree out front doesn't get in the way. That's great. Josh, how you doing there, Josh? Great to see you on here, man. South is why I shoot in my front yard. Backyard has no southern visibility. I hear you. I mean, for me, anything, if I could show it to you, I'll probably bring up Nina and give you guys an idea of what, like my horizon looks like. But so that's one reason why I have my RASA is I've got to be able to get some of those southern targets as quickly as possible, such as like M20, M16, and others. Even when I've gone after row from my home, I didn't have a lot of time. I would probably have maybe 4 hours for a lot of those targets that are usually around the between 25 to 30 degree mark. Besides that, that's it. But anything higher, I'm all good. So yeah, Dave, that'd be awesome. Be able to do some planetary now. Absolutely. Starlancer, what's happening? South is a bit, Mikey South says, South is a bit limited, but my West is completely blocked. But good otherwise. My West is kind of blocked too. So let's see here. I'm getting a ping here. And oh, that was Corin Lewis. He may be coming on soon. He was just shooting me a couple messages here that he was actually imaging the Wizard Nebula this morning. Wizard is one of my personal favorite targets, basically because it is one of those northern targets or north-facing targets that I can grab rather easily. But for me, yeah, same here, Starlancer. Yep, the clouds are coming in here in the Midwest, in Illinois, Chicago area. Chicago, I live towards Rockford and more towards the state line between Illinois and Wisconsin. And yeah, I would say tonight, probably until Wednesday, we are going to be pretty clouded over here in my neck of the woods. So I was able to get out and do some imaging last night and a little bit the previous night, but it's kind of a bummer that we've got, this great new moon weekend. And in my case, I've got clouds. So that really stinks. So Norm, you've got 4 hours on M16 so far. Gideon, that's oh man. You know what? Honestly, I've thought about it just to mess around with them. Gideon saying, Eric, you should change the password and do not tell Dan and not tell Dan. That would be hilarious. And I would be crazy enough to do it. I would be that guy. Just to have fun, just to have fun with him. Starlancer, I basically have 180 degrees of sky centered on the north. Yeah, I mean, the north for me, I pretty much got all the north. It's and the west is a little, but the south, like I said, just the way, because of the way my house is and how my house is configured, is situated. Anything higher than 35 degrees, I'm good. But like I said, like M6 for me, M20, row, the blue horsehead, they can sometimes get too low, and I can only have maybe, if I'm using a RASA, it'll help, but I probably only going to get like 3 or 4 hours if I'm lucky. Yeah, I got out last night. I'd be very curious. Let me know what you guys are imaging and what you guys have been doing for this new moon week and weekend, and what you guys been imaging. Dave, I've got data last night and looking to get another full night tonight. Should bring me up to 30 hours on the Cave Nebula. That's awesome. That's some data. You should be getting some great results. Excuse me, some great results from there. So I myself, I decided I was going to go after some dark nebula. I was going after two of them. Let me see which ones were let me see this. I can't remember the name of the catalog. Right off the top of my head here, but the Vandenberg. Yes, sorry, the Vandenberg. That is what I've been imaging last night and a little bit the night before. Then I turned out that I ended up having a oops moment for myself. I was using the ASI Air, and this could have even happened on if I was using Nina, but I was using the ASI Air on the refractor. That's what I've got that's what I've got on there, and I'm using Nina on the Schmidt over here. But it apparently I made a goof on and plugged in the because everything is cabled up, and I was kind of in a rush. I ended up plugging in because I have a Pocket Power Box Advanced, and I ended up somehow plugging in the 12-volt DC of the camera into the 12-volt DC converter that goes to RCA into a dew heater, one of the dew heater connections, and then it would work for a while, and then all of a sudden it stopped working. So you can imagine why, because it wasn't getting the proper power flowing through it. Excuse me. So it was going great for about an hour and a half. I went to bed thinking everything is all good, and wake up the next morning, I only end up with 30 images. So what can I tell you? And then when I go back and figuring this stuff out, and I just look and I'm tracing everything, tracing all of my cabling and everything. And sure enough, I open up the sheath of my cable management loom. I'm tracing it down, and I've got it. And I'm looking and like, no wonder, Eric, you idiot. You plugged your camera into the dew heater 12-volt connector. So, but it's all good now. So like I said, yesterday I got a full night, but that's one of those things. Yep, soon we can all do M42. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't done M42 or put a lot of time into M42 or an Orion. I didn't really get much time on Orion last year. So I'm thinking myself is I'm going to spend quite a bit of time, especially in the fall before we really get into winter and the clouds start coming in and everything really gets clouded up, because you guys know when winter really gets into full swing sometimes, as much as you get so much more time during winter, you also have to deal with a lot of, cloudy nights, of course. And sometimes during the winter, those clouds, they will just not leave your area for some reason. I do. You know what? I have a P-Touch, and I said the same thing, Mark. You know what? I'm going to grab my P-Touch and label all of my cables and make sure that I don't do that again. So, but yeah, getting back to what I was saying about, Orion and the winter. Last year, winter, at least for me here in the Midwest and Northern Illinois, it just sucked. So we had constant clouds. I mean, constant overcast. So I think this year, because I really want to get Orion, I want to get M42, but I really want to actually go after the Witch Head. And I may possibly do that next month while I'm at the Star Party. It just depends on where we are as far as time frame, because it's still Orion is still going to be relatively, sometime maybe, I don't know, maybe about midnight. I've got to actually hop on to Telescopius or one of my other planning apps and punch in that date and take a look and see when Orion, where it is in relation to, a time and everything, so I can actually go after the Witch Head. But that's going to be one of the targets I really want to go after. I've been interested in that target for a while. So, and who knows, I may also grab my DSLR and my Canon 6D and open up, go a little bit wider and try to do the actual Bernard's loop, go and get that hydrogen, from Bernard's loop. Another one that I've also been thinking about going after is M78. M78, I think they call it the Boogeyman Nebula, if I'm not mistaken. That was also in Orion. And that one is another fun one that I would love to go after. It's a really cool reflection nebula. And I would recommend that to anybody if you're thinking about targets coming in, in fall and in winter around Orion. Orion's just got so much great stuff around in that constellation that, you can spend the entire winter, I think, in, just imaging in and around the Orion constellation and get some fantastic images out of there. So let's see I'm checking out the chat here. Corin, right now I have a Canon 4000D with a 70 and 200 Canon lens. That, you know what? I'm not going to knock, a lot of those stock Canon lenses. I'm not going to knock them because a lot of them are quite good. They'll end up being like an f5.9 or so. So they're still rather, they still are relatively fast in focal ratio, and you can get some really good images from those. I remember seeing some images of people using a nifty 50 Canon lens, on their with their DSLR, and they've come out pretty nice. So Mikey, I saying here I didn't get to shoot much at all last fall and winter. What I did get was quickly done. I feel you. Mike, okay, so you're all right. I'm looking up in here a little bit further up. Mikey, you're just starting on the bubble and the lobster claw. Great targets. We have one of those that's actually, I believe, at the Image of the Week contest. So again, if you guys have not voted yet, do me a favor. We still have maybe about an hour. Go and vote. AstroWorldWeb.com/IOTW. So Corin saying, I need a Star Watcher Adventurer. So it's possible you can take it with you when you go on Barbados. Yeah, absolutely. That's a nice small, travel mount, especially if you're using a DSLR. Yeah, not a bad one. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen. And last week I was unable to share my presentation of one of our constellations. You know, every Friday, Dan and we are going through the constellations. We're going to try to hit all 88 constellations before the end of the year. So I am actually going to share my screen, and we are going to check out Lyra. So just a second here, we'll go ahead and get this going. All right. All right. So constellation Lyra. So hopefully it says right now that I am screen sharing, so we should be all good. So let's talk a little bit about Lyra. Now, first off, we're going to go through some of the facts and a little bit more about the actual constellation itself. So where is Lyra? Lyra is a northern hemisphere constellation. It sits at the fourth quadrant of the northern hemisphere, and it can be seen between latitudes of 90 degrees and down to negative 40 degrees in latitude. And it borders Cygnus, Draco, Hercules, and Vulpecula. It is actually a member of the Hercules constellation family. Like we've been going over, we did Vulpecula, we talked about Cygnus and a few others, Seculum. So it is part of the Hercules constellation family, and its right ascension is at 18 hours and 14 minutes, and declination is around 25 degrees to 47 degrees. So a few facts about the constellation itself. Lyra is actually Latin for lyre or lyra. It is actually the musical instrument that kind of looks like a harp. And this is supposed, in the constellation, is supposed to represent the lyre or the that was used by Orpheus, and we'll talk a little bit about him in a second here. It is a very small constellation. It's one of the 48 constellations that were listed by Ptolemy in the 2nd century, and its IAR, I believe, abbreviation is LYR, and it has 5 main stars. And when you name these, and the name of these stars are actually called Lyrae, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And of course, the most well-known one and brightest one that I think that we have is Vega. Vega is the 5th brightest star in the night sky. It is the brightest star of this constellation. It is really bright, with a magnitude of 0.03, right? There's only a few other stars brighter than this. Of course, Sirius is the brightest star, so this is quite a bright star. You also have Sulfat, which is Gamma Lyra, Cheliac, Beta Lyra, and Epsilon Lyra, which is also known as the double-double. And that one's also one that I'll talk about here a little bit as well. And it has 2 Messier objects. There are 2 Messier objects that are found in this constellation. So the myth behind Lyra, it's all about the story and the tragedy of Orpheus. And for those who don't know this story, it's a pretty well-known story about Orpheus. Orpheus was the son of the Thracian king Agrius, and the muse Calliope. When he was young, the sun god Apollo gave him a golden lyre. Apollo was also the Greek god of music, as well as medicine and a few other things. But Apollo gave him a golden lyre and actually taught him to play it, while his mother taught him to write verses. So he became a very, very talented musician. And he was so talented that it was said his music could actually charm rocks. I don't know how that could be, but if his music was that good to make rocks move around and get up and dance, that's pretty impressive. So he also was a friend and companion to Jason and the Argonauts, who went on, of course, the famous journey of the Iliad and going after the Golden Fleece and stuff like that, and within the ship the Argo. And through his music, he actually saved the Argonauts from the Sirens, which were basically sea monsters, or they were basically sea monsters, or I don't know if they were like really mean mermaids or whatever, but their song would actually attract sailors to steer their ships into the rocks of their island, and then these whoever made it over to the island would end up getting killed or something by the sirens if they didn't drown, after their ship sank. But Orpheus, his music was able to drown out the song of the sirens, and basically saved Jason and the Argonauts from a very short trip on the Argo. So another story is probably his most well-known story, and I personally I remember this story in Greek when I took Greek mythology when I was very young, and I thought it was a really cool story. It was his trip to the underworld. When Orpheus met his wife. His wife was a nymph named Eurydice, and when they were during their wedding, there was a satyr that was obsessed kind of with Eurydice, and and what happened was even on the day of their wedding, of Orpheus's and Eurydice's wedding, this satyr was obsessed with her, chasing her, things like that. And Eurydice actually fell into a viper's nest and was bitten by a viper, bitten by a snake. And Orpheus found her body. And when he found her body, he was so upset, so distraught. He began to play such sad music, lamenting over, the death of his new bride. And that music, the gods in Mount Olympus heard that music, and the gods and the nymphs were basically brought to tears by the music of Orpheus. So the gods actually took pity on Orpheus and encouraged him to go to the underworld and convince Hades to get Eurydice back. And so he did do that. He went to the underworld and he played music for Hades and Persephone, Hades' wife. And they were so moved as well that Hades agreed to let him take Eurydice back to the surface, but only on one condition. He had to lead her out of the underworld. He had to walk the path first, and he could not turn his back. He could not turn around and look at her until they both made it out to the surface from the underworld. So he agreed to it, and off they went. And he walked, of course, you see the photo, this really cool picture here, animated picture here, where Orpheus walked through the underworld. Eurydice was behind him, following behind him, and he made it out to the surface. And he made one mistake. He didn't give enough time for Eurydice to make it out because she was kind of moving a little slow. I mean, she's dead. So she was moving a little slow. And so when he got to the surface, Eurydice was still a little bit further behind. So he forgot to actually wait for Eurydice to come out, and him being so anxious, I guess, to see his wife, he turned too soon, and Eurydice ended up she didn't make it, she wasn't out yet. So she ended up being pulled right back to the underworld, and ended up being there for good. So basically, when after this happened, he was still lamenting his wife, playing very sad songs. So Orpheus, how he ended up dying was also very interesting. He died at the hands of the followers, the Maeads, which were these crazy women. And no offense to women, I'm just saying that that's what they were. There's the story about these, they were the followers of Dionysus. They would get drunk because, of course, Dionysus, the wine god, also the god of madness and all that stuff. So the Maeads, they would always be partying, drunk. They were kind of nuts and insane too, so they actually were trying to get Orpheus to play songs for them in honor of Dionysus, but he didn't. He was still really upset. He didn't want to do it. So he refused to play in honoring the wine god. They went off on him. They basically ripped him apart and killed him. But the Muses, after finding his body, actually took his body and the lyre, but they took his body and buried his body under Mount Olympus. And Zeus took his lyre and actually placed it among the stars. This is where we get the story in the constellation of Lyra for Orpheus's lyre. So very, very interesting. Like I said, it's one of those fun stories and one of those fun myths that I really enjoy. Anyway, so as far as here, we're talking about astronomy and astrophotography. A couple of the stars that I mentioned earlier, Vega, very bright star, magnitude of 0.03. This one was taken by Frederic Tapsier. I caught this off of AstroBen. And you have the double, Epsilon Lyra. And with this, you can see here double star. However, the double is actually two binary stars. So this is actually 2 stars here and 2 stars here. So actually 4 stars. It is a it is a double binary system. So this is where you get the double, because even though this looks only like 2 stars, it's actually 4. They're very close together, and believe, so this is where you get that. So, and this was taken by Juan Gonzalez Alicia, and this was also, I found this on the AstroBen. So it is quite well known, I think, Epsilon Lyra for this. It's kind of for the double, because I don't think you really hear about any other types of constellation or binary systems being so close together where you get something like the double. Now I mentioned you have 2 Messier objects. You have Messier 57, which was taken by Boris Imchenko. Sorry, I apologize. This was, you can actually see a lot of more nebulosity. So the longer that data is, the more light you gather, you can really grab more than just basically the center of the nebula here. And you also have a galaxy right over here as well. You also have Messier 56. I should have kind of put these in order, 56, then 57. But Messier 56 is a beautiful globular cluster. This image was taken by Vitali, also on AstroBen. So if you are thinking of a couple targets, a couple Messier objects that you like to go after, you have 56 and 57 here in Lyra that you can target at some point. And we also have NGC 6745, which is an irregular galaxy complex. I believe it is actually 3 galaxies that are actually have been merging together over millions of years. This image here was taken by Gary M. This is also an astroband, you can see here. And you have even a closer look at NGC 6745 via the Hubble Space Telescope by NASA. Gary's image here was actually taken with a Edge 11 Schmidt-Cassegrain. And lastly, we have NGC 6791, which is a more of an open cluster, open star cluster. This was captured by Daniel Nobre. And he did this one in infrared as well as RGB. So this one is really, really spectacular. I think he got image of the day for this one from AstroBand. But you can tell here it's quite open, but you can see how towards the back, it's almost like a bit of a glob as well. So very, very cool. So that's it as far as appreciate you guys listening to me on that and ranting on about Orpheus and all of that stuff. But that is Lyra. So appreciate that. And we're going to end that. And let me go back here. And let me see here. There is stop sharing. There we go. That's better. So, hey, all right. It's Eurydice or Eurydice. Eurydice? I thought it was Eurydice with a C. Dave says, Rush sing a song about the people of Dionysus, the song Cygnus, Cygnus X1 Book 2. Thanks, guys. Black Star, thank you. Corin, appreciate that. I would really like, to do a planetary series. That may not be a bad idea. Maybe after we get through the constellations and everything, that could be another topic we look into. Again, I know I spoke about this and I was speaking about this on a show a while back. If there is anyone who, any of our viewer membership that would like to come on to the show and discuss planetary imaging, who are very good with planetary imaging. I am not. I would love to learn and get better at that. For some reason, like we talk about, planetary and deep sky imaging, 2 separate beasts. So, I would love, to have one of our, awesome members, if whoever is interested, to let me know at eric@astroworldweb.com, or you can even email dan@astroworldweb.com and let us know if you would be interested in joining us on one of our shows, and we can talk planetary, because I think that is one of the different versions of astrophotography that we really don't talk about. We talk a lot about deep sky and everything, but we don't really talk much about planetary as much. And I think that we should. So if there's anyone who would like to do that, let me know. Eric Susenbach. Okay. Thanks, Mikey. Pretty appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, if I could find a way, I will talk to Dan. Maybe if we can, get anyone. I mean, Eric or Christopher Go. Absolutely, I would love to have any of these guys on. I mean, shoot, who is also a Daniel Peach, anyone, who is very good at planetary, very good. I would love that. As a matter of fact, there is an app that I'm sure a lot of you guys may have heard of. I just actually heard of it myself. It's a weather app. Let me grab this here. For astro imagers. I believe it is called, which one is it? Yeah. And I'm sure you guys probably already know about it, but I did not. It's called Asteria or Asteria. It's Xasteria. Okay, maybe it's called Zasteria with the X there. And one of the things that they do show here, which I really like, which is going to be good for planetary, is the astro seeing. It's the layout here is, I think, a lot more user friendly and explains a little bit better, in my opinion, as far as the astro seeing and transparency, to let you know if a particular, based off of the forecast or anything like that, a particular day would be better for, based off of the seeing, the expected seeing and transparency would be better for planetary versus another day. So it's so this app here, like I said, it's spelled Xasteria, Zasteria or something like that, or Xasteria, I don't know. But check this one out. I think this is a very good one. That would be helpful. Yeah, you know what, Mikey, here it is. That's a great idea. Let me just type it in here. And let me know if you guys, sometimes, I'm not sure if you guys can see that or not. I know sometimes when I type stuff up within the chat, sometimes because Dan is leading, maybe that's the more links, if I'm putting links out, that I can't, but he can. So this one, this one is pretty cool, and it even has other, uses 7 timer. It has the clear skies, the clear sky chart for your area, and you can even go to other forecast alternatives like windy and meteor blue and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool here, way you have it. So if I don't know if you guys can see that here really quick. And if I zoom that out, it even tells you, based off of a few things. So check this out. It is it's free as far as I know, but you can subscribe, I think, for a small fee to get more information or get a longer forecast, but you can also get this for free. I do also like Astroperic. Astroperic is another one that I use quite a bit. I use that one, clear outside, media blue, windy. Another one that I found out, I haven't had a chance to use it yet much, was good to stargaze. I don't know if you guys have checked this one out yet. It is another app that I found. I'm going to type that in here as well. It's called Good to Stargaze, and it tells you right off the bat if you're good, or it's good to stargaze or not good to stargaze. So it'll tell you right off the bat, based off of weather and everything, if you're going to be good to go or not. Josh, last week I relied too strongly on the Google forecast. Dog woke me up at 6 a.m. to go outside, find out it had been raining. I feel you. Nope, I don't know, Josh, honestly, if they're just iOS only. I was on one website. I can't remember the website it was. I was doing my Lyra research and stuff. Can't remember off the top of my head, and it was just a few of these apps that popped out. So AccuWeather was really good for me, when I first got started, but for some reason, I don't know if they still have the stargazing or astronomy feature on there or not. See here. We are almost at 9 o'clock Eastern. So we've got about a half hour before we announce our image of the week and image of the month for August winners. So if you haven't had a chance to go to our website, astroworldweb.com/IOTW, don't forget, go there and cast your vote. Oh, that's good, Josh. Says wasn't raining too hard. Everything was still okay, but still don't trust Google forecast anymore. Yeah, I mean, forecasting, it's not with all the technology we have now with satellites and with satellite information, satellite imagery, all that stuff, to have bad, relatively incorrect or improper forecasting, I think is terrible. I mean, in this, we're in the 21st century here. And I mean, some of these, meteorologists, I mean, giving out some poor forecasts and stuff like that. I can understand sudden, unexpected stuff that can happen. But for the most part, hey, what up? Here he is. He is on. He is in the chat. Dan, the man, is in the chat, coming from Cherry Springs. I don't know if right now he's chatting with us. I don't know how strong his connection is, if he wants to if he can join or not live or anything like that. But love from BFSP. Yes, he is in, I'm hope you're having fun out there, man. Enjoying yourself. Everybody's asking you, Dan, if you can go live, and if you can, I'll email you the link. All right, I will email you the link. Just a sec here. And we go here. And you go to Facebook. Let me know if you get this, Dan. Let me know if that'll work for you, Dan. If not, then I can just send it over to you via Messenger. Let me know if that'll work for you or not. If not, then I will send the longer link to you via email. So, yep, I just sent the link. So, Dan, are you drinking yet? He probably is. Who knows? He probably is. So let me see here. No, I don't want to do that. Close that. Sorry, guys. All right. So, like I said, we are at the top of the hour now.
Actually, I gotta get better at is identifying things. I'm used to know where that is, but I need to get back. The little guy. Hello.